यन्मायावशवर्ति विश्वमखिलं ब्रह्मादिदेवासुरा यत्सत्त्वादमृषैव भाति सकलं रज्जौ यथा हेर्भ्रमः यत्पादप्लवमेकमेव हि भवाम्बोधे स्थितिर्षावताम् वन्देऽहं तमशेषकारणपरं रामाख्यमीशं हरिम्। श्रीराम जय जय राम ॐ 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 जय जय राम ॐ जय राम ॐ। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हरिओम। When Bhagwan takes avatar as Saguna Sakara, when he becomes in a particular form, all he does is pulls the mind of devotees towards himself. Any avatar Bhagwan takes, he has only one role, that is to bring devotees closer to him. It's a great blessing to study Charitra of Bhagwan. Charitra of Bhagwan Rama is Ramcharitmanas. What all things Bhagwan did when he took avatar, that is elaborated in Ramcharitmanas. Without a text like this, to form the image of God in our heart is very difficult. On our own, if we imagine what is Bhagwan like, we will keep imagining, but nothing will come to mind. But texts like Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramcharitmanas, they lead our mind to Bhagwan. So it's a great blessing. I think it is, result of lot of punya karma. We get desire to study and an opportunity to study also. But another greatness is to study the charitra of Bhakta. To study charitra of Bhagwan is a great blessing. But even greater blessing is to study the charitra of a Bhakta. Because in and through their life, we get to see what is it that Bhagwan loves. How does a devotee come to become a devotee? And how do they express their devotion towards Bhagwan? Whatever is mentioned in 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the last 7 to 8 verses, where Bhagwan talks about the nature of a devotee. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karunaivacha. One who is not having any hatred towards anybody. One who is friendly towards all. Compassionate towards all. Doesn't get agitated by the world. Doesn't agitate the world. Now all these things are just mentioned there. But when we read life of devotees, we get to see how those values manifest in an individual. So where we are right now in Ramcharitmanas, we have just seen Bhagwan's Charitra. Now we are seeing Bhakta Charitra. And that Bhakta is our Bharatji. Right from the time when he comes back to Ayodhya from his uncle's home, Dashrath Maharaj has given up his physical body, and Bharatji is coming back the first thing is greeted when he comes back to Ayodhya is everybody is doubting Bharatji. They feel in whatever has happened in Ayodhya, Bharatji also has a hand in it. Everybody is gloomy. Ayodhya is as though become lifeless. Only one person is smiling, that is Kaikeyi. She is standing with Aarti to welcome Bharatji, and she is telling him things were going to go in a very different direction in Ayodhya. Somehow or the other, with Manthara's help, I managed things. Only one thing happened is, your father, Dashrath Maharaj, is no more. And hearing that, Bharatji almost collapses. And from that point onwards, he never looks back at Kaikeyi. Then he goes and speaks to Kausalyaji, who looks upon him just like Bhagwan Rama. There is no difference for Bharatji, whether it is Bharatji or Bhagwan Rama, as far as Kausalyaji is concerned. Then, after everything he has spoken with Kausalyaji, Vashishta Maharshi comes and he says, we have to move on. Whatever has happened. We can't just stay at this. They do the rites and rituals. Then Vashishta Maharshi calls for a sabha. He calls for samsad. Sad means to sit. Samsad means where people discuss having sat down very well. Nowadays, samsad is totally different. Nobody sits, only shouting. But how should an authentic communication be done? First he calls everybody, then he calls Bharatji and Shatrugnaji and gives a first-hand account of what all things have happened. He says, don't believe in rumors. Somebody might say something, second person might say something else. Kaikeyi might have told you something else. He said, with that there is more miscommunication. Let us have an official account of things, what all happened in Ayodhya. Where did we start? The first thought that came in Dashrath Maharaj's mind to make Bhagwan as Yuvaraja. Then all the scheming and the plotting that happened with Manthara and Kaikeyi, what all things she did. The two boons that she asked from Bhagwan Rama. And when Bhagwan was summoned to the court of Kaikeyi, not court, her palace of Kaikeyi, what was his response? We generally say that, right? Man is measured by his response. In a given situation, how he responded, that is the character of a person. When Kaikeyi tells Bhagwan Rama that your father is too attached to you, he gave you boons and he was unable to hold on to those boons. Means right now he is unable to keep his words. That is why he has fainted. What are those two things? One is Bharatji should become the king. Second is you should go into forest for 14 years. Bhagwan Rama says, "Oh mother, this cannot be the reason." He said, this is such a simple thing. How would my father become unconscious for such a small thing? Tell me what is the true reason. There must be something greater that you are hiding from me. This cannot be the reason why my father is in this state. Vashishta Maharshi is elaborating all of that. He wants Bharatji to hear how great is his brother. And having heard that, Bhagwan Rama doesn't waste much time, goes to Kausalyaji, seeks her permission, and very gracefully goes to Vanavasa. And before going, he does danam of whatever he had. Make sure that even those attendants who are taking care of him, they are also given some work all the way until 14 years. Means when he goes to forest, he doesn't want to take any of his things from Ayodhya to the forest. And with that, he elaborates how Bhagwan went there. And finally, how Dashrath Maharaj kept his words. He held on to Dharma also, but at the same time held on to love for God also. His love for Bhagwan was so much. The litmus test of love is, what are we willing to sacrifice? Greater the love, greater is the sacrifice. So Dashrath Maharaj's love for Bhagwan was such that he gave up his prana, gave up his life for Bhagwan. So all these things Vashishta Maharshi narrates to Bharatji. He says these are the things which happened in Ayodhya. Then finally he says, Bharatji, listen. There are several people who are worthy to be grieved over. He lists around 10 to 12 of them. If there is a spiritual seeker who doesn't have spiritual disciplines, if there is a Brahmana who doesn't study Vedas, if there is a person who gets angry without a reason, he says all these people are worthy of grief. But not Dashrath Maharaj. Dashrath Maharaj is somebody who has lived his life very well. You don't have to grieve over him more than what is needed. Pujo Guruji says this, शोक होना एक बात है, दुख होना अलग बात है. Means, or you can put it other way also, दुख होना एक बात है, शोक होना अलग बात है. दुख होना means whenever something happens which we don't want it to happen, we will get sad. But shoka is to remain with the sadness forever. So Vashishta Maharshi is telling Bharatji, our dukkham is done. Now let us not drown into shoka. And that one chaupai is very popular, 171. Sunahu Bharata Bhavi Pravala. Bilaki Kaheu Muninath. Says, Oh Bharatji, I am saying this after a lot of thinking. You might think I am a great rishi. I have a lot of tapasya, a lot of power. But this destiny or fate, it is so powerful, even the strongest of the strongest is helpless in front of destiny. Means the best way out is being humble in front of Bhagwan, not to become proud of anything in life. What are the things which are controlled by destiny? Hani labhu, loss and profit. Jivana marana, life and death. Jasa apajasa vidihate. Fame, jasa, and apajasa means ill fame. All of these things are in the hands of Bhagavan. We can do our part, but whatever result will come, that will come according to his ichha. Whatever we are mentally prepared, we don't get surprised by it. Whatever thing we are mentally prepared, we can handle it better and we don't get caught unaware. So until 173 we had seen. Now 174 onwards is all Bharata Charitra. It started from the time when Bharatji came. But 174, 10 more dohas, 174 to 184, there are few very beautiful traits to observe in Bharatji. It is one thing to read chaupai by chaupai, but there is an overarching theme also behind it. The first one is Bharatji's speech. In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan says, austerity should also be done at speech level. Vangmaya tapas. Speech should be non-agitating, anudvegakaram. It should be factual, satyam. It should be dear to the other person, priyam. and it should be beneficial to the other person. Hitam. At any given time, 3 out of 4 should be practiced. At least 3 out of 4. Non-agitating, factual, dear to the other person, beneficial to the other person. Bharatji's speech is a very beautiful demonstration of what is the meaning of Vangmaya Tapasya. Because now what is going to happen is, Vashishta Maharshi, his own teacher, Kausalyaji, all the ministers who are there in the court right now, everybody is going to say, Bharatji, you should become the king of Ayodhya. They will give logic, they will give Dharma standpoint, according to righteousness, what is the right thing to do. They will also give different other examples. Hearing all these things, Bharatji is going to say, my heart says something else. But when you have to say no to somebody whom you respect, how should you say it? A very beautiful confluence of humility and firmness. Generally, the thought is, we can have one or the other. This is how a common person will think. If somebody is humble, then that person is not firm. Means anything you tell that person, he keeps nodding his head. And if somebody is firm, he might become disrespectful. Or he might become stubborn. Bhagwan calls it as tamasika dhruti. Even that person has fortitude. Whatever erroneous ideas he holds on to, he doesn't let go. So that is another side where firmness is there, but misplaced firmness. Humility is lost. And the one who is humble is unable to live up to his own convictions. Anybody offers anything, he says he goes along with whatever they offer, with this idea that I should not hurt. So Bharatji is showing that confluence between humility and firmness. So every word he says is having both these things as its guide. When he is talking to Vashishta Maharshi, how he speaks. When he is talking to Kausalyaji, how he speaks. So that is the first point in this next 10 dohas, the speech of Bharatji. Second part is, we all take decisions in life. Rather, we have to take decisions in life. But when we take decision, what do we keep in mind? How should we take decisions such that, first of all, it is in line with Dharma. It is the right thing to do. And second is, what does Bhagwan, who is seated in our heart, what is he saying? So Bharatji follows both. Once we look at all these dohas, we'll again come back and analyze. I'm just giving an outline first. See, always we cannot say, my heart says something. We will never know when Vasana says it and when Bhagwan is saying it. Vasana also is inside, Bhagwan is also inside. To discern between the voice of Vasana, our own likes and dislikes, and the voice of God, that needs lot of calmness, lot of sadhana. And the second part is using our intellect to decide what is the right thing right now. Based upon Dharma, based upon what is right and what is wrong, how should I take my current decision? So until, means from the point that Kaikeyi asked 2 boons, all the way until Bharatji's decision, different people have taken different decisions so far. Dashrath Maharaj took one decision. Right? What was his decision? I will stay by my words, but I will let go of my prana. Once I have given my word, there is no taking back now. That is his decision from the standpoint of Dharma. Bhagwan Rama, once he heard what mother and father wanted, his decision was, I have to go to forest. He says, I don't have to think twice. The very fact father wants this, I have to make sure that his words are protected. That was his decision. If Bhagwan Rama had gone back, even today people would have spoken about Bhagwan Rama. But look at his father. He had so much of reputation of keeping his word. In that dynasty of Raghukula, there was Bhagwan who went back after having given words. So Bhagwan said, nothing doing. Keeping the word is more important. That was Bhagwan's decision. I mean, this again takes us back to what is Dharma. Right? Simple meaning of Dharma is that which integrates is Dharma. So whatever kept everything together, thought, word and deed, Bhagwan did. Whatever kept Ayodhya together, that Bhagwan did. Sita ji comes and says, my dharma is to go with Bhagwan. Her decision is, if I stay back here and my Bhagwan is in the forest, he is suffering and I am in the palace, that is not my dharma. Lakshman ji comes and says, my dharma is to serve Bhagwan. Don't teach me about any other dharma. That is the only dharma that I know. I am like a child. For a child, you should not give too complex instructions. So that is Lakshman ji's. Now Bharat ji is coming and saying, my dharma is not to take this kingdom, but to go with Bhagwan Rama, seek his advice first. For that, what does he have to do? He has to disobey Vashishta Maharshi. He has to disobey Kausalya ji. But the way in which he puts forth his point, that is something to appreciate. So what was Dharma in what Bharat ji did? Because as children in Balakanda we see, all of them did exactly what their Guru told them. There was never even a sign of disobeying the Guru. This is the first time that Bharat ji is doing different than what Vashishta Maharshi is asking him to do. But in spite of doing that, there is Dharma. Why is there Dharma? We'll discuss it briefly. Again, we'll recap it when everything ends. Bharat ji's standpoint is, who is the one who is actually sending Bhagwan Rama to forest? Vashishta Maharshi might say it is Dashrath Maharaj. He says, no, it is not Dashrath Maharaj. It is actually Kaikeyi. If you ask Dashrath Maharaj, should Bhagwan Rama go to forest? He will say no. Even Kaikeyi, she didn't get this thought of sending Bhagwan to the forest. It was planted in her mind by Manthara. So Bharat ji is as though telling Vashishta Maharshi, whom are we pleasing if I become the king and Bhagwan goes in the forest? It's actually not Dashrath Maharaj's word, it is Manthara's words. And second, he says, if at all you want to find Pratinidhi, Pratinidhi means what? Representative. The one whose representative you are finding, that person should say, you are my representative. I cannot claim somebody's position and say, I am his representative. True or not, if you are invited to speak somewhere, some other person without asking you goes and speaks there, saying, I am speaking on behalf of you. He says, no, Pratinidhi if I pick, I should pick my Pratinidhi. So he says, if I have to sit on this throne, first I have to go and meet Bhagwan Rama. If he tells whatever he tells, we will see later. But your request right now for me to sit on the throne, he says, that is not something that I want to do. Okay, so this is the summary of next 10 dohas. Now we can see more in detail after 173. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, 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 Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Rama. सब प्रकार भूपति बड़ भागी, बादि विषादु करियते ही लागी। यह सुनि समुझि सोचु परिहरहु, सिर धरि राज रजाय सुकरहु। राय राजपदु तुम कहु दीन्हा, पिता बचनु फुर चाहिय कीन्हा। तजे राम जेहि बचन ही लागे, तनु परिहरउ राम बिरहागे। नृपहि बचन प्रिय नहीं प्रिय प्राण, करहु तात पितु बचन प्रवान। करहु सीस धरि भूपर जाई, है तुम कह सब भांति भलाई। परशुराम पितु आज्ञा राखी, मारी मातु लोक सब साखी। तनय जजाति ही जौ बनु दयऊ, पितु आज्ञा अघज सुन भयऊ। अनुचित उचित विचारु तजी, जे पालहि पितु बैन। ते भाजन सुख सुजस के, बसहि अमर पतियैन। अवसि नरेश बचन फुर करहु, पालहु प्रजा शोकु परिहरहु। सुरपुर नृपु पाइहि परितोषु, तुम कहु सुकृतु सुजसु नहीं दोषु। वेद विदित सम्मत सबहि का, जेहि पितु देई सो पावई टीका। करहु राजु परिहरहु गलानी, मानहु मोर बचन हित जानी। सुनि सुख लहब राम बै देहि, अनुचित कहबन पंडित केहि। कौसल्यादि सकल महतारी, तेउ प्रजा सुख होहि सुखारी। परम तुम्हार राम कर जानिहि, सो सब विधि तुम सन भल मानिहि। सौंपेहु राजु राम के आए, सेवा करेहु स्नेह सुहाए। कीजिय गुर आयसु अवसी, कहहि सचिव कर जोरी। रघुपति आए उचित जस, तस तब करब बहुर। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। The sabha is over. Whatever Vashishta Maharshi had to tell Bharatji, he has told. Now he is giving 6 reasons, very convincing reasons, why Bharatji should become the king of Ayodhya. सब प्रकार भूपति बड़ भागी, बादि विषादु करिय तेहि लागी. Bharatji, please don't lament for Dashrath Maharaj. He was blessed in several ways. So if you are feeling that guilt that Dashrath Maharaj has gone to Swarga, means he has dropped his physical body, how can I become the king? If that grief is holding you back, he says don't hold back. Don't let that grief overpower you, because he was blessed in several ways. यह सुनि समुझि सोचु परिहरहु, सिर धरि राज रजाय सुकरहु. Having thought about this, take your father's words and come and rule that kingdom of Ayodhya. So first reason he gives is Don't lament for Dashrath Maharaj. He was blessed in several ways. Then he says, Raya Rajapadu Tuma Kahu Dinha. Dashrath Maharaj also wanted you to become the king. You are not going and snatching that throne away like Duryodhana. Father himself has given you this position. So why are you hesitating in taking that position? Second reason he gives is that Father himself wanted to make you the king. Third reason he says, Father loved staying truthful to his words. You are the one who are going to help your father continue that legacy. Pita bachanu phura chahiya kinha. Phura means satya. Make your father's words come true. Taje Ramu jehi bachanahi lagi. Tanu pari hareu Rama biragahi. Because of keeping to his words, he was so great that he gave up his physical body also. Means he loved his words so dearly, and you are going to help Dashrath Maharaj keep his words. Can you imagine how important task it is? He says, don't hesitate, become the king. Nrupahi bachana priya nahi priya prana karahu tata pitu bachana pravana. Pravana means pramana. If Dashrath Maharaj has said something, it has to be true. That is pramana in his words. Means it will never be otherwise. He will never say anything and not accomplish it. Please help your father hold that reputation. Third reason is that make sure that you help your father stay true to his words. Karahu सीसधरि भूप रजाई हई तुम कह सब भांति भलाई. Whatever your father has instructed, do as per his words. In this, all our well-being is there. Then he gives some examples. One example is of Parshuramji, who followed his father's words to the dot. Second example is of Yayati, who again did whatever his father asked. Yayati's son, he did whatever his father asked. Even though it might have appeared adharmic, they didn't incur the sin of adharma because they went by father's words. See, one thing we should understand here is, Bharatji will understand these two examples. What Parshuramji did, what Yayati did. If we start reading that example, we will have more questions than clarification. That's why I didn't elaborate on them. Modern day example is, if you see somebody doing very well in life, you go and ask that person, what is your secret? How did you reach here? He says, it's all because of my parents' blessings. Now, when we hear that, a person who reveres this other person, naturally his thought will be, oh, if this is what listening to parents does, maybe I should also do it. That is all. You should not get caught up with the example. So Bharatji, he is telling that look at these people, they followed their parents' words without questioning, and they became so great. Two people are mentioned here. One is parents, second is guru. In following their advice, it is said we should not think twice. Means if guru says, do this japa, that student should not say, I'll think about it. In fact, it is said, suggestion of a guru is adesha for a student. Guru might not have said, this is your injunction. But the disciple's tuning is such, he understands, this is what is my upadesha. Same thing is said for parents also. Look at that 174th doha. Anuchita uchita bicharu taji. Without thinking about whether it is right or wrong. Je palahi pitu baina. those who follow the words of parents. Here it is, Dashrath Maharaj. Te bhajana sukha sujas ke basahi amarapati ana. They get lot of fame in life, good name in life, and also they stay happy in life. Going to Swarga means being happy in life. So he gives example of all these people. They followed their parents, you also should follow. Avasi naresa bachana pura karahu. Whatever Dashrath Maharaj wanted, make his words come true. Palahu praja soku pariharahu. Fourth reason he gives is, by doing this, you will take care of all Ayodhyavasis. If you are thinking that you are doing this only for yourself, that is not true. If you become the king, all these Ayodhyavasis who are so unhappy, so sorrowful right now, you will be taking care of all of them. Surapura nrupa paihi paritoshu tumakahu sukruta sujasa nahi doshu. If you have this doubt that you might get papa karma because of doing this, you might get papa karma by doing this. He says no, in fact you will get punya karma. Tumakaha sukruta sujashu nahi doshu. You will get punya, not papa. See, if Guru is telling you will get punya, Shishya should not have doubt. Will I get punya? Will this bring some papa by any chance? He says, you don't worry, I am telling you this will give you punya. Vashishta Maharshi is telling Bharatji. Now, if Bharatji has this thought, out of the 4 brothers, Bhagwan Ram is the eldest. If I am not the eldest, how can I sit on that throne? Vashishta Maharshi is removing even that doubt. Beda bidita sammata sabahika jehi pitu deyi so pavahi tika. Even Vedas have this sanction. To whoever father does Raj Tilak, that child becomes the king. It need not be the eldest. That is Vashishta Maharshi. He's telling, if you have this doubt that I am not the eldest, don't have that doubt. Father wanted you to become the king, so you have to become the king. Karahu raju pari harahu galani, manahu mora bachana hita jani. He says, drop this guilt that I am going to do something wrong. In this only all our well-being is there. Trust my words. 5 reasons are done. The 5th reason was, you will gain punya, not papa. Now the last reason he gives, Suni sukha lahaba Rama baidehi. He says, if you become the king, even Sitaji and Bhagwan Rama, they will be happy. You want to make them happy or not? He says, if you want to make them happy, then become the king. That is what they wanted also. Anuchita kahaba na pandita kehi. Nobody will say, this was anuchita, you did something wrong. Kausalyadi sakala mahatari teu praja sukha hohi sukhari. All the mothers, including the praja. In fact, if praja becomes happy, mothers will become happy. They are unable to see Ayodhya in this stage right now. You should be the one who steps up, takes care of this. Parama tumhara Ram kar janahi, so sab bidi tuma sana bhala manahi. Those who know the love between you and Bhagwan Rama, all of them will understand why you have done this. Nobody will raise any questions against you. This assurance Vashishta Maharshi is giving Bharatji. When you speak to somebody, you know whether where they are going with you. Are they tuning with you, or is totally not happy with what you are saying. And Vashishta Maharshi understood Bharatji is not at all interested in all these things that he told. Finally, he gives one notch down option. He says, okay, if you feel you don't want to become the king forever, at least become the king for 14 years. This is doable, right? Bhagwan has gone for 14 years. Just become the king for 14 years. Manage it the way that you want. And when he comes back, give it back to him. And you do his seva. सौंपेहु राजु राम के आये सेवा करेहु सनेह सुहाये. सौंपेहु राजा, 14 years after he comes, you give it back and then do his seva after that. Now he looks at all ministers. You all also say something. Sumantraji is there, all other ministers are there. What is your opinion? You tell Bharatji now. See, ministers, they are giving their opinion, but they also know where not to cross the line. You see what they say. Kijiya gura ayasu avasahi, kahahi sachiva kara jori, ragupati aye uchita jasa, tasa taba karaba bahori. This is whatever Guru has told. Kijiya guru asa avasi, kahahi. Sachiva karajori. With hands folded we say, please do whatever Vashishta Maharshi has told. Means until 14 years at least you rule. But they don't say, after 14 years give it back to Bhagwan Rama. See what he says. Ragupati aye uchita jasa. After Bhagwan comes back, whatever you feel is right, that you do. Ragupati aye uchita jasa, tasa taba karaba bahore. Do whatever is right at that time. Because Sumantraji also knows I am minister and this is Bharatji. He should not be saying to Bharatji with the same authority that Vashishta Maharshi told Bharatji. 14 years later, you give it back to Bhagwan Rama, give his seva, do his seva. Now looking for the right time, Kausalya ji comes and she tells her opinion. She says, whatever Guru tells you, that is like pathya. Pathya means the diet that we should be eating when we are unwell. Pathya also can be interpreted as medicine, but pathya in general means all the other care we should take when we are unwell. Like that, if your mind is restless, the words of teacher, they are like this pathya. They will make sure that mind regains to its original health, just like this physical pathya makes sure body regains to original health. And she says, drop this sorrow and understand that our time is not right now. There are some phases where we just have to accept and move on. There is no point in over-analyzing why things have happened a particular way. So adariya karai hitamani tajiya bishadu kalagati jani. Kalagati means the play of time is not in our favor. So drop this sorrow. Don't drown in it. She says, she uses a very beautiful phrase. Look at how she says. Bana Ragupati Surapura Naranahu. Ragupati, Bhagwan Rama, has gone to rule the forest. And your father, Dashrath Maharaj, has gone to rule Swarga. Both of them are not here. And you are our only support right now. Tuma ehi bhati taata kadaraho. And you are becoming weak. What are we supposed to do? Both of them are not there. You are our support. Parijana praja sachiva saba amba, tumahi sutta saba kaha avalamba. For the people of Ayodhya and all the mothers, you are our sole support right now. Laki bidi bama kalu katinai, dhiraju dharahu matu bali jai. He says there are some times when fate is against us. Having understood this, I am requesting you, please do whatever Vashishta Maharshi is telling you to do. Siradhari gura ayasu anusarahu, praja pali parijana dukha harahu. Rule the kingdom of Ayodhya and remove the sorrow of all the praja. Now remember, when Bharatji came, everybody doubted him. listening to the words of Vashishta Maharshi and listening to the words of Kausalya ji, he feels a lot of solace inside. At least he knows that they are not doubting me. They know I am on the right side. Guru ke bachana sachiva abhinandanu, sune Bharat hiya hita janu chandanu. Just like somebody has applied sandalwood to his heart, how it would soothe that person, like that their words were soothing to Bharatji. Now from here, Bharatji shows his Vangmaya Tapasya. Remember the points we had seen, huh? 174 until 184, the first point is Bharatji's speech. How to put forth this point, but in what way he is putting forth. Suni bahori matu mrudubani, sila saneha sarala rasasani. His speech is adorned with three qualities. First one is sila. Means it is rooted in values. Sila means good character. Means he is always keeping in mind the one who is standing in front of me is my guru. One who is standing in front of me is my mother. He might have a difference of opinion, but he never forgets the relationship that they have. Second one is saneha. Saneha is love. He is not putting forth his opinion with an agitated mind. He has love in his speech. And third is he is straightforward. Not convoluting things too much, confusing things too much. He says, whatever I'm thinking right now, that I will put it on the table. That Chandas also, there is a very beautiful analogy. Looking at the words of Kausalya ji, Bharatji became even more anxious. And with this, tears started rolling in his eyes. And those tears gave sprout to another bud of the separation that he was feeling with Bhagwan Rama. Means anyhow he was feeling, anyway he was feeling anxious, but listening to everything that other people are saying, that memory of Bhagwan's separation became even more vivid for him. And looking at Bharatji in that state, everybody else started feeling even more sorrowful. Now, dipping his words in nectar, Bharatji is going to respond to everybody. 176th Doha. Bachana amiya janu bori, deta uchita uttara sabahi. How is Bharatji standing? Bharata kamala kara jori, dhira dhurandhara dhira dhari. With folded hands, he is standing in front of everybody. And as though words dipped in nectar, he is speaking now to Vashishta Maharshi. Let us chant this one after 176. Mohi upadesu dinha guruni ka praja sachiva sammata sabahi ka matu uchita dhariyaya sudinha avasisi sadhari chaha ukinha Gurapitu matu swami hitabani Sunimana mudita kariya bhali jani Uchita ki anuchita kiye bicharu Dharamu jai sira patak bharu Tumato dehu sarala sikha soyi So acharat mor bhal hoyi Jadyapi yah samujhata hauni ke तदपि होत परितोषु न जी के अब तुम बिनय मोरि सुनि लेहु मोहि अनुहरत सिखावनु देहु उतरु देउ क्षम अपराधु दुखित दोष गुण गनिय साधु पितु सुर पुरसिय रामु बन करन कहु मोहि राजु एहि ते जानहु मोर हित के आपन बड़ काजु सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय। बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। First he says, whatever advice Vashishta Maharshi gave me, that is right. He doesn't start by saying, "Oh Guru, you are wrong." Mohi upadesu dina guru nika. Whatever advice teacher gave me, that is the right advice. Praja sachiva sammata sabahika. The praja which is there and all the ministers who are there, they also agreed with whatever Guru says. That is also true. Not only that, mother also agreed. Ma tu uchita dhari ayasu dinha. Mother also said, you have to become the king. Kausalyaji here. Huh? So Matu now goes with Kausalyaji only. Matu uchita dhari ayasu dinha, avasi sisa dhari chaho kinha. All of you want that I should take this advice, put it on my head, and I should sit on that throne. Another thing is true. Guru pitu matu swami hitabani suni mana mudita kariya bhali jani. Guru pitu matu. Teacher's words, father, mother's words, and our well-wishers' words. We should not think twice before taking their advice. I mean, this also talks about Shraddha in life. Huh? Goswamiji is not saying take everybody's advice and do everything that everybody says. He says at least few people should be there in our life whose advice we can readily accept. If we say I have nobody, that just shows lack of Shraddha. Uchita ki anuchita kiye bicharu. Without thinking whether it is right or wrong, without over-analyzing it, dharamu jai sira pataka bharu. If you over-analyze too much about Guru's advice, parents' advice, you say whatever dharma it could have brought, that dharma also goes away. Means our Shraddha keeps going lower and lower. Tumatau dehu sarala sikha soi. Whatever advice you are telling me in a very straightforward way. Jo acharata mora bhala hui. If I take that advice, my well-being will happen. This is what you are saying. Jadyapi, even though yah samujata houni ke tadapi hota paritoshuna jike. Even though I get what all of you are saying, still my heart is feeling something else. The agitation or anxiety which is there in my heart, that is not going away with this thought that if I sit on that throne, everything will be all right. If I take that kingdom of Ayodhya, all the sorrows which we are going through right now, everything will be all right. This particular solace I am unable to get. This is the second part of Bharata Charitra. First part was Vangmaya Tapas, right? Second part was listening to that inner voice of Bhagavan. That sadhaka whose mind has become purer and purer. Voice of Bhagavan becomes very clear to that sadhaka. Means one who has lived a disciplined life, worked with his vasanas, removed all his erroneous vasanas, what remains there is Bhagavad Ichcha. Say, when I look within, I am not getting a nod from Bhagavan. In a sadhaka's life, this nod comes in the form of conscience. External result might be very good. But if, let us say, this sadhaka knows, while doing that, I have done some adharma. Even though there might be external result, inside there will be some kind of guilt feeling. So that is the sign that Bhagavan is unhappy. On the other hand, if there is so-called failure outside, but inside mind was thinking of the Lord, and held on to values. You see, there is a sense of joy within. That joy is Bhagwan is pleased with that sadhaka. The very famous example given is of Jatayuji. Jatayuji fought Ravana, but in that battle, who won was Ravana. But even though Jatayuji lost, because his mind was on Bhagwan, that loss was true victory only. Ravana, who was turned away from Bhagwan, even though he was victorious in taking Sitaji away, that victory is just like losing. He says, in this way, when I think about me sitting on the throne, without seeing Bhagwan Rama and Sitaji and Lakshmanji, I am not getting that nod from within. This in Vedanta is called as Anumodanam from Antaryami. Anumodanam means a nod. That Bhagwan will say that this is how you should be doing. More we try to think about it, more different facets open up. We should not make it like a very mystic thing. That Bhagwan comes and whispers something in some way. Anumodanam is directly proportional to purity of mind. Purer the mind, greater is the guidance from the Lord. First thing is to appreciate that Bhagwan is seated within. Inside each and every sadhaka, each and every person, it is the same Lord who is seated within as Antaryami. But stronger the vasanas, softer becomes his voice. Stronger the vasana, softer is his voice. Greater is the darkness. And thinner the vasanas, greater is the light, louder is Bhagwan's voice. So Bharatji is an embodiment of a person with the most pure mind. Later Vashishta Maharshi is going to say, you don't have to follow Dharma. Whatever you do becomes Dharma. For a sadhaka, they have to look at somebody and emulate what they are doing. For Bharatji, Vashishta Maharshi says, whatever you do will become worthy of other people to emulate. Ab tuma binaya mori suni lehi, mohi anuharata sikhavanu dehi. Bharatji is telling, whatever things you all said is good. But please look at where I am. Come to my level and teach. That's how we also say, right, sometimes. If we read something very complicated in Vedanta, it's all that is good. But I should understand it at my level right now. Then only it's beneficial to me. He said, all the dharma that you all said is good, but please understand what I am feeling also. See, in all the 6 reasons that Vashishta Maharshi gave, he says, though asking Vashishta Maharshi, did you include me in those 6 reasons? Means you said, if you do this, Dasharatha Maharaji will be happy. If you do this, kingdom will be, Ayodhya Vasis will be happy. If you sit on the throne, mother will be happy. Punya you will get everything you will get. But what is my heart saying right now? That also has to be considered. Utaru Devu Chamaba Aparadu. He says, now I am going to say something which might be against what you have said. So please forgive me. Don't look at it as my arrogance. Dukhita dosha guna ganahina sadhu. When somebody is sorrowful, somebody is in sorrow, you don't count that person's dosha and guna. You don't give too much of weight to, even if they do something erroneous. In sorrow, if you say something wrong, you say we don't judge that person, or we don't get too upset at that person. Like that he says, right now my mind is in a lot of sorrow, so please forgive me if I say something inappropriate. Next doha is very Interesting. Huh? Based on this only, he has elaborated the next part of his speech. He says, look at our condition right now. Pitu Surapara. Pitu Surapura. Father has gone to Swargaloka. Siya Ramu Bana. Sitaji and Bhagwan Rama have gone to the forest. Karana Kahau Mohiraju. And you are telling me I should rule this kingdom. Ihite Janhu Morahita Ke Apana Badakaju. He says, tell me in this thing, do you see any good coming to me or any good coming to you also? How can there be any good in this for me, and how can there be any good in this for you? So next part he is going to prove why there is no good in this for him and there is no good in this for them also. He says the only good is to serve Bhagwan. If they are in the forest, we have no business to be here, and I cannot become the king of Ayodhya. This particular portion can also be seen in the light of Ishavasya Upanishad. Karma devoid of bhakti. That action which is devoid of devotion to the Lord, that takes a person to dark worlds. So Bharatji is as though telling, this kingdom which I am going to get, minus Bhagwan, in this no good is going to come out. How that connection is, more we will reflect in the next session. Ishavasya class also is starting from this mantra only, mantra 9. But I think there is a lot of joy in reflecting upon how this thing translates to our life. Right? Bharatji is saying Ayodhya minus Bhagwan is no good. The modern or the relevant translation of that is any secular accomplishment minus remembrance of Bhagwan. He says that is no good. Okay, more we'll see next session. Aganita Gunagana Bhushana. Is it not? Aganita Gunagana Bhushana Rama Ashrita Vatsala Jaya Jaya Rama Ayodhyavasi Sita Rama Apad Bandhava Jaya Jaya Rama Dasharatha Nandana Shri Rama Dashamukha Mardana Jaya Jaya Rama Kausalya Sukhavardhana Rama Kamita Phalada Jaya Jaya Rama Papa Vimochana Shri Rama Pattabhi Rama Jaya Jaya Rama Janaki Vallabha Sita Rama Jaya Raghu Rama Jaya Sita Rama Vanara Sevita Shri Rama Varidhi Bandhana Jaya Jaya Rama Hanumat Pujita Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama Patita Pavana Sita Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama Syavar Ramachandra ki jai Satgurunath Maharaj ki jai.